In the last video, we discussed why influence is considered the essence of leadership. We also examined the kind of mindsets that we need to imbibe to gain acceptance and cooperation from our key stakeholders. In this video, we will learn the range of influence tactics that help leaders achieve results. We'll utilize a short, real-life story to explore the types of influence tactics that are helpful in specific situations. Chris worked in a technology firm. To address a major client problem, he was required to design and implement a complex new initiative. The project posed uncertainties. It was expected to create turbulence in different areas and drag people out of their comfort zones. Despite all these challenges, at the end of his project, everyone agreed that Chris had been remarkably successful. The project was completed on time and within budget. More important, the execution was smooth and effective. Without seeming to impose his will to push the change through, Chris had managed to gain support and cooperation from key individuals and groups. Not surprisingly, the success gave a big boost to his credibility. What explains his successful leadership? Let us take a brief look at how Chris influenced his key stakeholders. He began by highlighting to his team the larger challenges of addressing the client problem. He invited the team members to contribute ideas. Knowing the mindset of his technical team, he focused on the excitement of the new technical challenges and worked out a logical sequence of steps to move forward. With his emphasis on regular informal discussions and team participation, his team members were solidly aligned to his ideas and proposals. Thus, his influence with his team flowed from his logical persuasion, his strong relations with his people, and his emphasis on empowering his staff to work towards a jointly agreed vision. Once a tentative design of the initiative was in place, he shared it with his superiors. He carefully identified the senior management concerns and perspectives and framed his key arguments. This made his pitch highly persuasive. The superiors were also reassured by the fact that the technical team was unanimous in its views and appeared confident and enthusiastic. In other words, with his superiors, Chris gained influence through his interpersonal awareness. He considered their needs, appropriately positioned his proposals, and presented his ideas in an impactful manner. The new initiative involved other departments and functions of the organization. So it was important for Chris to gain their concurrence and support. In consultation with key colleagues, he worked out a pilot project to test the main ideas and concepts. He shared the results of the pilot project with his peers, got them involved in the review of data, and kept them informed at all times including through informal channels. As we can see, Chris again demonstrated interpersonal awareness. He identified key stakeholders, took time to socialize, and implemented appropriate steps to gain their support. Since the quality function was a key player in the organization, Chris sought an appointment to discuss why the project had been initiated, what plans they had worked out, and the preliminary data that they had obtained from the pilot project. He listened carefully to the concerns of the quality personnel and remained open to their suggestions. After a review of their points, he reverted to them quickly on how he had planned to address their concerns and incorporate their suggestions. Thus, to gain willing cooperation from the quality function, he used logical reasons and facts to convince people. He built on relations on the strength of his empathic listening, and he took thorough preparation to respond quickly and meaningfully. As the project moved into the execution phase, Chris remained in touch with people at the operating levels. He encouraged them to freely voice their concerns and difficulties. He ensured that people had requisite resources and support. Through periodic review meetings, prompt corrective steps, and supportive environment, he ensured that people were able to operate without fear or anxiety. In other words, his approach of actively involving people and giving them credit helped him gain influence at the operating levels. Additionally, he kept in touch with people, listened carefully to their concerns, and made an effort to look at issues from their perspective. He also helped them see how their efforts supported the vision of the organization. As we can see from the story, Chris used a range of influence tactics. Theorists and practitioners have identified several tactics. Let us review the important ones. First, logical persuasion uses rational aspects and persuasive reasoning to convince people. It is suited for those situations in which there are shared goals, people like hard data, and feel that the rational approach will work best to attain the objectives. It works best when the leader enjoys respect and credibility. In contrast to logical arguments that rely on rationality, the influence tactic of common vision is an inspirational approach that involves emotional and value-laden appeal. It shows how one's ideas support the vision of the organization. By enthusiastically highlighting the common good, leaders spark the spirit of collaboration. It is particularly effective with one's team and peer groups. A third influence tactic is one of interpersonal awareness. This involves identifying others' concerns and positioning one's ideas appropriately, say by highlighting how the new approach will benefit the other party. It involves empathy or examining issues from the other party's eyes. For example, Chris informed the team members about how the technical challenges present opportunities to develop new specialist skills and build future readiness, which was an important agenda for his young team of professionals. Another important influence tactic involves relationship building. Here, the leader takes time to socialize and get to know others. Through informal conversations, the leader builds trust and commitment needed for implementation. This is important in those cases where the associations are long-term, say with peers. A somewhat different tactic is that of empowerment and consultation. In this approach, the leader involves others, creates a participative process, and shares credit. The leader is patient, listens to ideas, and responds in a supportive fashion. The method works when the audience has the ability and interest, and the goals are shared. The other influence tactic may be called organizational awareness or coalition building. Here, the manager identifies key players and gains their support or endorsement to exercise indirect influence. Organizations are also political systems. And like good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, we have good politics and bad politics. To be influential, a leader requires organizational awareness and political skills. Next, we have the tactic of impact management, where the leader thinks carefully of how to present ideas in an impactful manner and create a positive impression. There are also other approaches of bargaining or exchanging favors or applying pressure that managers employ to deal with specific challenges. If there is overuse of any influence tactic, it tends to make the tactic ineffective. A leader requires comfort and skill with a range of these approaches. The effectiveness of your influence approach also has implications for your future dealings. For instance, people like Chris keep growing in their influence on the basis of their performance track record. On the other hand, other managers may find their influence depleting due to their ineffective approaches. Since influence is so central to leadership, it is important for frontline leaders to introspect on their own approaches and take appropriate steps to strengthen their influence.